Hey, welcome back everybody. Thanks for stopping back in for another one of my videos. First off, I want to say I really appreciate the support that I'm getting on the channel and on Instagram, and I can't thank you guys enough for subscribing and even just coming through to check out the snakes and wanting to support the channel. I've had a few of you guys wanting to donate, and I made a Patreon. I'm not going to beg for money. I'm not really going to ask you guys for money, but if you guys feel the need or you guys want to support the snakes, because if you guys send me any money, no matter what it is, it's going to go directly to the snakes, whether it's food, caging, or bedding and stuff like that, just to make the snakes' lives a little bit better. But it'll be Ben Cincy Snakes, and I know we've done a lot of videos on the ball pythons. I've kind of gotten the bug on them, and it's not a bad thing. I do enjoy the pieds. That's my #1 favorite ball python, and I'm hopefully can start breeding those in the next 3-ish years. Some really cool morphs with those. So we're going to take a break on the ball pythons. We're going to go back to them in the next video because it is Thursday. Thursday night is feeding of all the baby ball pythons, which is behind me, because that's the night that I go and see John, and he is the main guy with the rat supply, and I get a lot of snakes from him too. So we're gonna hang out with the boas. The boas are still, they still have my heart. I still love them. They're crazy, they're wild, they're much bigger, and you never know the attitude that they're gonna give you, especially this Argentine right here. And I know a lot of you guys like her, and we'll get out the four big ones, and maybe the Motley. She is in shed, so we'll see how she's reacting. Some of you guys have gotten Argentines from seeing her, and that is awesome. I think more people should try to own the Argentines. Fun fact, well, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it is a kind of like a fact type of thing, but they are endangered in South America, so importing them is not really allowed. So if you want to find one, you pretty much have to find a special breeder for them, and there are crazy colors and stuff that come naturally with them, and they start out very, very light, and then they change their colors into their adult colors, and they look kind of like this on the common ones. But a lot of you guys seen pictures on my Instagram is commenting on about how big her head is, and it is rather large compared to her body, and then compared to the regular boas. And I don't like them around my face because I trust them enough, but not for real. So she's, you know, definitely not full grown at all. And then you can see how large her head is compared to her body, which I've seen Argentines' heads like almost the size of the inner side of the palm on a grown man, which is crazy for a boa. And then it's because if you look at the albinos and the ghosts, I don't think they will ever get the size of an Argentine. I think these ones are a little bit bigger. I'm not sure how they would be next to a BCC, but we're going to find out, and we're going to keep on feeding her properly and not trying to get her too overfed or anything like that. But the fan is off, but above me, and for whatever reason, she still wants to go up there. I think it's a height thing, but she's getting better. She's getting a lot better on her attitude when I'm getting her out of the cage. She still is sometimes when I walk past the cage to come into the room, because it is set up like that, and then there's the door, so I have to walk past her cage to come into the room, and then my heat sense, or my body heat, triggers her senses, and so she sometimes smashes up against the windows or the plexiglass. Now, she hits it on an angle, it's not that big of a deal, but if she goes head on into it, like she did a couple weeks ago, she bent her jaw really far over, and it definitely scared me. But I fed her a small meal, and it realigned the jaws, so everything is good on her again. We just don't want that to keep on happening, because we don't want any broken jawbones, any swelling, and then we don't want her to die from any infections. I mean, obviously I would go to the vet for her, but you never know what's going to happen. But her colors are awesome. So I know a lot of you guys like seeing her, and she's getting to be a really good size. Feeding all my big boas right now at 2 weeks, including Pop-Tart, the bigger anaconda. and then they're feeding mediums. I could possibly feed them larges at 3 to 4 weeks, but I like giving them the smaller meals, and they're doing really well on size and shedding. So we'll put her back, and we'll just get the normal out. We'll get the albino, the ghost, and then we'll get the BCCs out, the red tails. We'll check them out as well. I don't know why she keeps going towards my face. So we'll just cut and edit, and we'll just get the next one. Alright, so this is my female. She's 4 years old. She's a common boa with no morph in her. You can hear her hissing a little bit. She is definitely in blue. She is not happy. So I'm not going to keep her out too long because I don't want to get tagged by her, and I don't want to stress her out any more than she already is. So we can see on her belly that it's really, really foggy, and her colors are kind of washed away. And then she's very, very dark in her coloration. So she should be shedding out here in the next couple, I would say a week and a half. So it's super exciting that she is shedding. I'm going to keep her away from my face as much as possible because she's normally calm, but when they're in shed, their temperaments and their attitudes kind of go out the window. But she will definitely be a much larger when she sheds out. So we're going to put her back. Just want to show her very fast on the growth of her, and then when she sheds again, we'll take her out when she's in a much calmer mood. Her face, she did hit the glass. Her bottom lip is a little pushed back from the top. It's getting better. She's not really, it's not like side to side, so she can't really realign it, but I think when she sheds out, it should fix that problem. Even her tail looks good in shed. She's very, very iridescent right now, and I'm very excited to see her new colorations when she does finally shed out, but looks like she's calming down a little bit. So alright, so now we have the albino, and she is always looking really nice. I love her coloration. The albino on her is not as good as the ball python albinos, but I do like them. A lot of people don't like them just because they fade out so much when they get older. Their colors just tend to wash away to almost nothing. And then you really can't see the saddles and the peaks and stuff like that. So I do like on her how she does, and I know I say this all the time, but she does have the white tips down here at the bottom of the saddles, which I think is awesome. And for her being almost 4 years old, yeah, she's 4, 2016. And then my normal was 2016 as well. So just kind of like a size difference. And they're fed the same. I don't really let them skip meals, but we can tell in the size that the common is much, much larger. So I'm very pleased with her tail not fading out like I see on a lot of albinos at her age. And I really hope that she kind of keeps a lot of this orange, at least as much as she can. Her eyes are good. A lot of albinos are born with one eye or no eyes, and both of her eyes work very, very well. But I would recommend a albino just because not only do I have one, they're very docile, and she's never given me any issues, since she's never really hissed at me or struck at the glass. She's just super, super calm and very laid back. She's one of the few that I would reach my hand in and grab her out of the cage. I do hook them all out just in case they are in a bad mood or in a feeding response. I don't want any issues, and again, I don't want to have any blood on the carpet. So she's a call strain, if I pronounce that correctly. I know there's a sharp strain as well, but she's the call, and I believe that was named after, I don't know what his first name is, but his last name was Call, and so he produced one of the very first ones here in America, I do believe, and then he obviously sold them off, and then here we are many, many years later, and you can find them for about $200, if that. So Like I said, I do trust them a lot. I just don't really trust them around my face if I can help it. So. Alright, so this is definitely a favorite of a lot of you guys. This is the Ghost. It's het albino, but the albino doesn't really do much for the colors or for the patterns. And man, she is definitely probably the calmest boa that I own. The Motley is calm as well, but she is definitely the most laid back, I would say. So I love her tail patterns. I really like the sides and the belly, how it just changes from that white to that gray, and then the saddles have the black around them, and then the black outlining around the tail as well, and she is awesome. So a lot of you guys were curious about buying one after seeing her. I think maybe one or two of you did buy one after seeing her, but she is tying herself into a pretzel right now. And I love the speckling on them. I don't know really where it comes from. I don't know if that's like the unique thing to the Ghost gene, or if it's something like random that happens. But her siblings really didn't have any speckling, so I picked her out of the litter in 2017 when she was a baby. And I got her because of the speckling, and it was definitely a good choice because the speckling definitely makes her a little bit unique, I think. But I really don't go on and look at snakes that I already own for more. So they could have the speckling. I mean, I'm sure they're all over Morph Market. Like if I'm looking for a snake, then I'm looking for one that I don't own, and I want something a little bit different. But I do own all boa or females in the boas. I have a couple males for the ball pythons, but for the boas, 100% females, which is perfectly fine. So they'll get bigger. They do throw a little bit of an attitude, but well worth it. So this is the Ghost 2017, late 2017, and everything has been very, very good with her. She's eating a medium as well. So as you can see from the size difference between her and the albinos and the other ones, they could definitely eat larges, but I like them all on the same feeding schedule. And soon she will hopefully be the same size as the other girls eventually. So this one is definitely one that loves to hang out. She could be out of her cage consistently all of the time, and she hates going back. So this is her. So we'll put her back and we'll get out the trues and maybe see the Motley. Alright, so this is the Serename, and if you guys have ever watched the videos of her eating, I am not worried at all about her biting me because she is probably the nicest eater that I have, and probably the most proper eater because she doesn't even strike. She just bites the rat, and that's it. Like, it's just super calm and really collective, and I have no issues whatsoever with her ever. So she's a Serename redtail, true redtail, and I'll show you guys the difference between her and the Guyana. So we'll try to get this light up here so we can get the color on her a little bit better. So she has really, really nice salmony sides, if it shows. And then we can see from the peaks, they're pretty good peaks. I know she's not really like the greatest specimen of a Serename, but she's a Serename nonetheless, and I got her when she was wounded, and I've done my best to help her along. And I love this stripe on her tail if she will stay still. The single line right there, I love that. I don't see that in too many of the Seranames, and I think that's just one awesome trait on her that is probably my favorite part on her, other than her temperament and everything else. So she's 2016 as well, so big time size difference on her than the normal, but in the long run she will get bigger, and she is on small rats every 2 weeks because she's doing well on the 2 weeks, and she looks good. I think she's about to shed because her jaw is very saggy. I don't know if you guys can see that. but normally when their jaws get super saggy around the back of the mouth area, they're gonna shed out soon. And she's been growing very fast this year, which is good. She needed to put on some weight and some size, and she's definitely doing that. So her tail looks a lot better. I don't know if you've seen previous videos, but she was eaten pretty badly by a live rat when she was a baby, and she took frozen thawed right when I got her, so I don't even know why she was being fed live, but she's been on frozen thawed ever since and has had no issues, so happy to have her in the collection. And then the Guyana, we had issues with her in the beginning. She's 2017, so she's very tiny. Again, the Guyana or the red tails do grow slower than the BCIs, but she would not keep, like, she had no problem eating, but she would just not keep food down. Like, she was regurgitating food all the time, so I thought she was gonna die, but dropped her meals down to like the smallest mice that I could get. Feeding her once a week, that definitely solved the issue. Now she is on rat pups and we're weaned, so she's doing perfectly fine, growing, and very happy that we got over that hurdle with her. So she has very nice saddles on her. Kind of looks like the batwing a little bit, maybe. And her tail is wonderful, perfect. I think she's a very good, has really good markings, so you can definitely tell she is a true red tail, and very excited to see her as she grows up. I'm hoping now that she's actually eating rats consistently that she'll gain some very good weight over the winter. I'm not going to fast. I don't fast any of my snakes. I know a lot of people do. I've heard sometimes it can cause them to cycle into a breeding state, and I don't really want that to happen with any of my snakes. And I've owned them for 4 years. You know, the big ones for 4 years. I've never had any issues with needing to fast them. Just kind of watch their weight, watch what you feed them, and she's just very curious about this lamp right here, wanting to go up on the top area. But she will be one. So the cage right here that I built for the Motley, I'm going to build another one right next to it for the Serename, and then obviously I made this one look way too high, so the next one's going to have to be 18 inches as well, or it's just going to throw me off, and my OCD is going to be all messed up. And then the cages that I built on top are going to be 13 to 14 inches, so small, but 4 feet ish. Then of course we cannot forget about this lady right here, and her colors are very flared up. This is the Jungle Pastel Hypo, and she is insane. Like, I saw her at John's and I just had to buy her. See the jungle pattern on her, which is crazy. Hopefully this camera is picking up. I'm still working with the camera. I apologize. I know it's kind of fuzzy or not the greatest. There's so many settings on it and I just get super confused. So I try to just put it on auto. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But her sides are very orange. She's super flared up. Awesome looking tail on her. I mean, this is just a beautiful snake. And I am extremely excited to see her growing up and getting into her adult size, and see how these colors end up, how the patterns end up. And she's got a lot of frecklings on her too, or speckling, the black speckles, which is crazy. And she is ready to go. She has a very tiny head. I don't really know why, but she's eating rat pups as well, growing like a weed. And she's a 2019, late 2019. So she's is awesome. So excited to see her grow and see what will happen with her. I don't know why her head's so tiny though, but I don't know. we'll see if it grows. Hopefully it does. Alright, so we'll end off with the Motley. She is in deep shed. Her eyes are totally fogged over, and she just looks like she is in zombie mode right now. Her colors are very, very washed over, very grayish. You see on her belly how there's almost, her colors are just not there. But I'm excited to see her grow. I've seen some very, very large Motleys on the internet, and they just look extremely awesome. I've seen a lot of Motleys, when they get older, they almost go black, but I really hope she stays as a lighter color, just so we can see the patterns on her and stuff like that. But we can kind of see the patterns right now, but she's too far in the shed to be able to see a lot of her colors and the patterns. But she's a very, very tame, good snake to have around. I know a lot of people don't like the Motleys, but I love them. I love the ING Motleys, the Albino Motleys, but I like the regular Motleys, and she is het albino. But I like how the sides are like layered. It looks like, I always say this all the time, it's like a layered cake. But I don't know why every snake is so curious about the cameras. I don't know if it puts off some heat signature or some weird wavelength type of thing that they can see. I don't know, it's just weird. They do it with the cameras too, or the cell phones. Every time I bring a cell phone around them, they just instantly want to go towards the cell phone. But I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'll say it again, like, I really appreciate your guys' support on the channel, and I thought I would just give you guys a good video on the boas, so we can keep that in the channel, because I do love the boas way, way, way more than the ball pythons. And since I've been showing them a lot, then they got to feed, but probably gonna put her back, and then I might hang out with the ghost a little bit more. So I'm not gonna show you guys the anacondas, even though they are part of the boa family, because I made a video of both of them previous, and if you guys want to see them, then you guys can just watch that. But on that, I'll see you guys on the next video.